Press and hold the center power button to power on the bike. Hold down the plus and minus buttons simultaneously to reach the settings menu. Scroll down and press the center button to select the battery lock page, and then press it once again to unlock and eject the battery. Place your hand below the battery to support it. Once the top end of the battery is disengaged, press the handle to release the battery and lift it out of the bike. With the bike inverted, use a 4mm hex wrench to loosen and remove the headlight pivot bolt. Remove the headlight from the bracket. Use a 2.5mm hex wrench to remove the bolt from the stem cable cover. Remove the cable cover. Disconnect the cable connection for the display. Use a 4mm hex wrench to loosen both of the stem clamping bolts. Remove the stem rubber grommet and then use a 5mm hex wrench to loosen the stem preload bolt until the stem can be released. Remove the stem. Follow up by removing the headset dust cover, compression ring, and the upper headset bearing. Lift the fork and front wheel up and out of the frame. Use a 3mm hex wrench to remove the two bolts that mount the battery lock assembly to the frame. Use a 2.5mm hex wrench to remove the 3 bolts that attach the cable cover plate within the battery compartment. Remove the cover plate. Use a 3mm hex wrench to remove the 2 bolts that mount the terminal assembly to the frame. And then use a 2.5mm hex wrench to remove the 2 bolts that secure the controller cover plate. Lift up the controller cover plate and disconnect the plug to the terminal, the plug in the first position on the controller, and the blue color-coded cable connection on the harness itself. Remove the main display harness from the bike. Swap the harness. Connect the new harness to the blue ACU cable in the controller by aligning the arrows and firmly pressing the connection together. Feed the other end of the harness through the battery compartment. Guide the controller and cover assembly back into the frame of the bike. Reinstall the two controller cover plate bolts using a 2.5mm hex wrench. Reconnect the terminal connection by aligning the arrows and firmly pressing the connection together. Guide the last end of the harness out of the head tube of the bike. Reinstall the fork into the head tube, ensuring that the lower headset bearing is still in place. Guide the upper headset bearing over all of the cables coming from the head tube and press the bearing into place with the chamfered side touching the frame. Note, assembly grease added to the head tube can help retain the bearing during this step. Replace the compression ring with the opening containing the cables toward the front of the bike, as shown. Install the dust cover onto the head tube, while keeping the cables oriented forward. Press the dust cover flush against the head tube of the bike. Guide the stem back onto the steerer tube and use a 5mm hex wrench to thread on the stem compression bolt. Continue to tighten the bolt until the stem is fully seated. Ensure the headset is properly preloaded while ensuring there is still good movement in the steering. Reconnect the display connection by aligning the arrows and firmly pressing the connection together. Reinstall the stem cable cover and mounting bolt using a 2.5mm hex wrench. With the cables routed into the headlight bracket as shown, reinstall the headlight and headlight pivot bolt using a 4mm hex wrench. Feed any cables back into the cable cover. Guide the terminal back into the frame and reinstall the mounting bolts using a 3mm hex wrench. Organize the cables, align the cable cover plate to the mounting holes in the battery compartment, and reinstall the 3 mounting bolts using a 2.5mm hex wrench. Position the battery lock assembly in place and reinstall the 2 mounting bolts using a 3mm hex wrench. With the bike upright, align the handlebars with the front wheel. Snug the headset preload bolt and replace the rubber grommet. And then use a 4mm hex wrench to tighten the stem clamping bolts and alternate between the two while torquing them to 8 to 10 Nm. Reinstall the battery by inserting the bottom first and pressing the top to lock it into place. Press and hold the center power button to power on the bike and test for proper function.